lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan. Today I'm gonna be flipping through Batman and the Outsiders. Number one. I'm also gonna show off some of the covers because I absolutely love this run. I don't know why it took me so long to read. Shout out to Rob Liefeld for talking about this on one of his episodes on Robservations, because it kind of like, I mean, obviously I knew about the book, but it kind of pushed me to check it out, and I was able to get a huge stack of this almost complete run where I was only missing 10 issues. I read the first 14 in quick fashion. I was missing the middle chunk, so I put the back end of the run, which was included in that set that I bought, and I'm waiting to finish it off. But I wanted to talk about this. I think it's one of the best 80s DC series that I've read, as I've been kind of falling through this rabbit hole of 80s DC comics and just falling in love with this era. But before I get into it, I want to remind everybody to make sure you hit that subscribe button, that bell icon, so you're notified every time we drop new vids. All your likes, all your comments. We love getting the feedback. It means a lot to us, and it also helps boost us in the algorithm. Make sure you check out some of the other vids on the channel. We got dope interviews with big name creators, indie creators. We go through books from the big two, and then we go through books from self-publishing. So make sure you check all that out. And now let's get into this. So I will go through just issue 1 of this, and I'll show off some of the other covers because they're fantastic, but they don't make covers like this anymore, man. I mean, look at this. I've had enough of your 2-bit Justice League. From now on, these are my new partners. Batman is calling it quits with the league and starting his own team. Amazing. Mike W. Barr and Jim Aparo are the creative team for this run. Just absolutely stunning art. I love Jim Aparo. I mean, his Batman is firmly embedded in my brain, as well as, Neil Adams, Tim Sale, Norm Brayfogle, Kelly Jones. Like, it's there inside my head. So I think this is a great start. We get to see Batman. He's sitting there. He's at some like function, and he's talking to Lucius Fox, and he's like, "Okay, good luck as you go onto that business trip to Markovia." And he's like, "Oh, you got a business, quote unquote. Is it blonde or brunette?" And he's like, "Actually, a redhead." And then we see it's not a woman; it's this criminal called Rooster. And so Batman takes him out, and a couple days pass, and we get news that Lucius Fox has gone missing. What else is he gonna do? He's got to go save him. No information is being released. They're calling it a blackout. So he's like, "Okay, well, you've done your best, Alfred." Now he sends an alert to the Justice League. This is the satellite era, people. So I love this lineup of the Justice League. One of my favorites. And Batman comes in, and we see somebody that's like, "Man, you're going to call an emergency meeting and you don't show up? Freaking nerve." And that's Green Arrow complaining. Black Canary, Dinah, she's telling him to calm down. Batman lays it down. He's like, "Hope you haven't gotten comfortable because we got something to do. We're about to go to Markovia." And Superman comes in. He's like, "We have to talk. No discussion to be had." Batman says, he's like, "A friend of mine's missing. We got to go find him." Wonder Woman's like, "We can't do it." He's like, "I'm not just concerned about him. I'm concerned for the millions of innocents that will get caught in this war. And don't you understand? I'd expect you to understand that." And she says she does, but Superman is like, "I already was in touch with the State Department, and they don't want to escalate it by bringing in the JLA." So he gave his word that there would be no interference from the Justice League. Batman's like, "All right, well then, effectively immediately, I resign." He smacks Superman away, as Superman's like, "You don't mean that." He's like, "I've heard the cries of the dying and the mourning, the victims of crime and injustice. I swore I'd do everything in my power to avenge those deaths, to protect innocent lives. And if I fail to keep that promise, my entire life is a lie." And you just see the progression and the events of, how he became Batman. I love this sequence of those panels. And it makes sense. Batman's now going to be away from the team, and if you want to stop me, you'll have to kill me. So now we get to Castle Markov in Markovia, and we see that the king is dying, and we see two of his sons, Gregor and Brian. And if you follow the Teen Titans, you know that Tara she's also from Markovia. and Brian and Gregor are her brothers. So we see this country's in turmoil. Now we're going to start to see some people coming in undercover. And, a strike force is what Batman puts together with this team. We'll find out that this is Rex Mason, this is Metamorpho, this is Black Lightning, and they're trying to sneak into this country to help save Lucius under the guidance of Batman. And as, Black Lightning goes to take out these guys, who comes in but Katana? So we get to see Katana come into the mix. And she is a little more ruthless of a character. She's willing to kill. And that's something that some of the other teammates are not in line with. Now we see Batman come up on this this young girl that's like got caught in an explosion, sees a halo around her, and that's the name that she will take on. And she has these power blasts, puts on this costume, and throughout this run, we don't know who she is. That's something that kind of continues to play out. Again, I haven't read the entire run, so I don't know everything that takes place past issue 14 yet. But as of that, like, there's no resolution to that mystery. Now we get to see Geo-Force be born, because the same experiments that were done on Terra are now done on him, and he gains powers, and he's gonna try to take out these guys that are overtaking his country. Metamorpho comes into play, but they make quick work of him to where he's shot, and then his body is just cut into pieces, and then they take Geo-Force and they bury him in the dirt. And I love this too, because you just see the fist coming out. And so Batman and his new teammate Halo are going in, and these army guys hear the noise that Halo has made, and he's like, oh man, this is what I get for working with amateurs. And he gets knocked out, and then he's taken prisoner along with the rest of his teammates by this Baron Bedlam who is taking over Markovia. Again, I love these kind of things that you don't see as much in comics. In the letters pages, we get this whole editorial on how the Outsiders came to be. I love this. And then we get a bunch of, some dope stuff that's coming out from DC Comics at this time. Show off this second issue too, because it is a two-parter, so why not? This is the birth of the team. So see Batman taken in, and now we're getting a little bit of history on Baron Bedlam and how Markovia during World War II was turned over to his parents, but then after the Americans came and liberated Markovia, they restored King Victor to the throne. And we see, we get a little bit of backstory on Black Lightning and why he does, how is he able to be trapped? Why isn't he breaking out with his lightning powers? And he's like, I haven't used my powers because of something that he did, and he inadvertently killed somebody, and we learned that. Batman is like taken aback. Halo's gonna try to save Batman. Katana comes into play with her. I love the friendship that is going to be developed between the two of them moving forward. And just really great character work. I love seeing Batman kind of, motivate Black Lightning, hyping him up so that he'll, help make the escape. He wakes Metamorpho up with his lightning powers, and then Metamorpho is able to, break them out. I just love this lineup. This is such a classic lineup of this team. And I can see why this series was so beloved. Mike W. Barr, fantastic writing, fantastic characterization, building this team, kind of taking this ragtag team of heroes, throwing them together, but then building out these relationships among them. And, Batman doesn't, say who he is. He doesn't reveal his identity. It does happen a few issues into the run because something happens to him. And then he ends up trusting his teammates with his identity. And I think it's great. He moves them into Wayne Manor, eventually gets Katana and Halo into his penthouse. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. But I love this, this scene with, Baron Bedlam and Geo-Force going at it, because he's taken some of the same powers that Geo-Force and Terra have, and forced the scientists to give him the powers. But then we're going to see that the powers don't work unless you're a member of the Markovia royal family. And so then he's taken out. And what's really interesting is that, Batman said, I don't want to turn him over to the World Court. And Geo-Force is like, then don't. Let's let the people of Markovia be the judge. And he just throws him in to this crowd of angry people. I mean, they got axes, they got pitchforks. and then you just hear him scream. So a little bit, I would say, almost out of character for Batman, but I kind of dig this take on him. And now he's like, come with me, all of you. You've nothing to return to. You're all looking for something, and I can help you find it. Whether it's the proper way to use your powers, or who you really are, or simply some kind of purpose in your lives. And Metamorpho is like a bunch of outsiders. I guess it might work, but we could use a name. And Geo-Force is like, well, you just did. The Outsiders. I like it. What do you think, Batman? And then this little smirk. I've heard worse. And so that's the first couple issues of Batman and the Outsiders. I was sold from issue 1. Absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe, again, another thing that just took me so long to read. I'm glad I read it in the single issues because it's the best way. Plus the newsprint, right? So you got issue 1, issue 2, and just to show off some of the other covers of the stuff I have read, you got issue 3. Just great covers. Absolutely, I love this too. George Perez and Jim Aparo teaming up on this, Teen Titans crossover. Get, some Cryonic Man, just really epic covers. A Phantom Stranger appearance. We do have some fill-in art. Steve Lytle fills in on this art, and then we get a really great 2-parter with the origin of Katana. This is the story that I was mentioning where Batman gets hurt and reveals his identity, and then where I capped off, which is the first part of, I think, a 2-parter where they're in the '84 Olympics, which is kind of cool. But yeah, just a really great series. Highly recommend picking this up. Highly recommend you getting this. I don't know, trade, omnibus, whatever you got to do. But this is great 80s DC Comics. Mike W. Barr, Jim Aparo. Fantastic. Great team. Thanks again to Rob Liefeld for turning me onto this run. It's fantastic. And make sure you check out the rest of the stuff on the channel. We got a DC in the 80s playlist that I started because I've been getting so into some of these series. So check that out. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid drops. And on that note, I'm out.